This week on The Gadget Show.
It's a battle of the elements as Jon and I face a challenge involving earth, wind and fire.
Using the earth to test gadgets that really could find you a fortune. Or not.
Can't find anything.
Using wind to put image stabilization to the ultimate test.
And finally, strapping ourselves to dirty great big rockets and shouting, fire!
Also tonight, comedian John Thompson helps Jon try out the best ways of watching TV on the move.
And I do my bit for student cuisine by discovering the top 5 toasters. Hello and welcome to The Gadget Show. Now this week, Jason and Jon face a very tough 3-part challenge entitled Earth, Wind and Fire. Cue men singing with high voices, spandex, bright colours, cool tunes from the 70s.
Sorry, Steve. No, it's not that, Earth, Wind and Fire. It's actually, no, it's more of a traditional 3-part challenge. All right, sorry to disappoint you. But it does involve some incredibly sophisticated and quite brilliant gadgetry. OK, the first part we're calling Earth, all right? The second part we refer to as the wind part, and in about 55 minutes' time we're going to end the show with a huge climactic showbiz ending, OK, very, very dramatic stuff, which we call the fire part. So let's waste no more of your precious telly-watching time and proceed immediately with the Earth bit, which is all about testing metal detectors. Yeah, and I know what you're thinking. Metal detectors are generally the sole preserve of grown men who live with their moms. Yeah? But no longer. Actually, now they're very, very cool and very, very clever. You can find real treasure with these things.
Really?
Yeah, just last week a guy auctioned off some coins that he'd found. They got £35,000 for them. In fact, the site where he found them, he kept it secret for weeks for fear of bounty hunters.
Most treasure is found on sites of historic importance, where you need permission to dig. But today we've just come to an ordinary field to test how well our metal detectors perform.
I'd chosen the Fisher F75, a top-of-the-range model from the company which brought out the world's first metal detector.
And I've gone for this Minelab Explorer SE, which has a reputation for being able to spot things buried deeper than almost every other detector around.
OK.
To test our detectors, our own coins and watches were taken from us and then secretly buried in 4 separately marked out areas. For our first test, we had to race to find our watches that had each been buried 30 centimetres deep. This is close to the maximum range of these detectors.
2, 1, go! Start detecting.
OK, here we go.
Metal detectors work by sending electromagnetic waves into the ground. If the waves hit any conductive material, they cause the material to generate a magnetic field of its own, which is picked up by the detector.
Unlike most detectors, my Explorer transmits on several frequencies. This is great because at high frequencies it can detect small objects, but the low frequencies are what give you the depth.
I feel really confident with this. I think it's there.
As Jason started digging, I was getting increasingly frustrated.
Oh, dear.
I'd swept the whole plot, but only got a few unconvincing beeps.
Can't find anything.
Maybe my detector wasn't detecting deep enough.
Yay! I found it!
Oh, well, lucky you.
My Explorer's superior depth range had won me the round, and I reclaimed my lovely watch.
Finally, I took a chance on one of those previously unconvincing beeps.
It's the best glimmer we've got. Let's try this. Now somebody has been here. Aha! At last!
Our other test was to find our coins, which had been buried in areas littered with ring pulls. 3, 2, 1, go! Detectors can spot different kinds of metals based on their conductivity, so our detectors should have indicated a clear difference between the ring pulls and the more conductive pound coins.
The higher the number on my Fisher screen, the more conductive the metal it was detecting.
While my Explorer showed different metals as a crosshair on different parts of the screen.
39. Is that the ring pull we're after, the decoy ring pull? It's very good at finding ring pulls.
Oh, there you go, look. Pound coin.
Ooh, now that could be a pound coin. Let's dig under here. There we are, I've got me money!
Oh, brilliant, well done.
Pretty good, really.
Huge fun.
Mega day. Really enjoyable experience. Bit of a box tick for me, actually, because I've always wanted to try metal detecting.
Though if I'm seriously after treasure, I think I'd go for your mine lab over my Fisher any day.
Yeah. The Explorer SE, I think, performed very well that day. One of the things that I was told by people that know more about this than us on the day was that the screen is particularly good on my unit.
Very good display. Well, I think because of the conditions on the day, which were very dry, I think everything was just too deep in the ground for this Fisher to pick up.
Yeah.
Which is a pity. Lots of ring pulls, though. I've got every ring pull.
I've been told that you've got one of the biggest ring pull collections in Britain.
Shh.
Right, time for a break now, but after that, Jon checks out the best way to watch TV while on the move, with the help of comedian, actor and all-round Gadget fan Jon Thompson.
See, what's this like?
Oh, it's come back again. So you just hold it like that.
Yeah, OK.
You'll be fine.
And as our Earth, Wind and Fire challenge continues, we get to the wind bit, when me and Jon test image stabilization on entry-level cameras.
Welcome back. Now, I want to talk to you about watching TV, but not from the comfort of your sofa with a nice mug of tea and a bicky. No, I'm talking about TV on the move, when you're stuck on a bus or a train and you can't bear to miss the big match, or when you wanted to follow a developing news story as it unfolds. Is it possible? How many channels can I get? How much does it cost? I decided to find out. I went for a day out in Oxford with comedian and all-round Gadget fan Jon Thompson.
John, nice to meet you.
Very good to meet you. Now you're into gadgets in a big way, I'm told.
Yeah, across the board, really. Everything from the kitchen to, well, not so much the garden, but, yeah, I like a broad spectrum.
Jon was going to help me road test 3 different ways of watching TV on the move.
Right.
And first up is this My TV player. This portable media player links up to the DVB-T, or Digital Video Broadcasting Terrestrial Network, through a portable aerial, allowing you, in theory, to watch TV live on its 9cm screen wherever you are. We decided to try it on an open-top bus. So this is the first one, the My TV. And it uses the digital terrestrial signal. I don't know whether we're going to get anything. Let's switch it on. Whether we can see it in this light.
Well, it works.
Well, we can just about see something.
Yeah.
So I'll stick the aerial. I can stick the aerial on here.
I'm loving the aerial.
Yeah,
it's a bit like a minicab driver.
Now, scan. In theory, the My TV should receive the full range of digital TV and radio channels. And it's got some already. Yeah, we've got Ideal World, UK TV History, TMF, The Hits. Should also get the radio channels as well. It's found 8 of those. Right, it's saving it. And BBC One we go to first, and that looks like BBC One.
Ooh, it's scrambled a bit now.
The My TV does come with a warning that digital signals vary greatly depending on location.
See, what's this like?
Oh, it's come back again. So you just hold it like that.
Yeah, OK.
You'll be fine. I mean, at the moment, we are getting more of a signal now we're moving about than we were getting when we weren't moving about.
I agree. It seems to be better on the go.
Oh, no, we're not
a little bit of a hiccup.
But that's enough of a few seconds lost. That could be the goal. I mean, the basic problem with this is you've got this tiny aerial, but you're getting a digital terrestrial TV signal. Normally, you have a great big huge aerial on your roof to get it.
Well, the problem is as well.
What's that?
To have to be seen in public with your own personal magnetic aerial maybe begs the question: have you had your medication today?
We weren't getting very far receiving DVB-T, so next up we tried a different approach. This is the Slingbox Pro, which takes the TV signal that comes into your home and redirects it to anywhere in the world. You can then access your home digital TV service via the internet on a laptop or mobile phone. And to test this, we jumped in a tuk-tuk. And we've got it working here on one of these 3G modems. And actually, that's a pretty good picture, isn't it?
It is. There's no interference. Not losing.
Really good.
No.
Question is, though, will it do it when we're on the move?
Let's see.
Mr. Steve, could you wind this thing up?
Let's rock.
The idea is you no longer have to be dependent on that rather weak digital signal. Anywhere in the world you've got an internet connection, you can get television. And also, you could have, it doesn't need to be a Sky Plus box, it can be with a Freeview box, a Virgin box, anything. It doesn't have to be Sky.
I mean, it's not interrupted once, we've got a perfect signal.
So, in a good 3G signal area like Oxford, the Slingbox proved a hit. But we still had one more solution to try: TV on your mobile. For this, we tested Vodafone's TV package, which receives a selection of channels via 3G internet streaming. And where better to try it than punting along the river? Well, this is definitely the quietest place we've been today.
It's absolutely lovely.
It is.
Idyllic.
It's a bit intimate, though.
Yes, I've only known you, Dave. What are you doing with that hand?
Oh, sorry.
All right.
Another thing to do would be just use your mobile. This is Vodafone Live. Shall we see what they do offer?
Let's have a look, let's see.
Now, you see, one thing, though, this has loads of channels,
Yeah.
but very few of them are actually live. They're all made for mobile sort of channels.
I see.
And while the mobile option scores top marks for portability, its size also has an effect on picture quality.
It's a slight little bit of tracing kind of delay. It's like, you know, when they go over to our man in Basra. It's a little bit kind of broken.
What do you think picture-wise compared to the Slingbox? Not so good. So the picture's not great, and that's not all. Oh, God, I don't think it sounds not very good. Like down a telephone sort of sound. Try it.
What, old school phone?
Yeah.
Before being let loose in the open seas, I had to make a number.
It's a bit like Charlie Brown's teacher.
So what system did John like best?
I think for practicality and overall appeal, there has to be the sling box. It does seem to tick all the right sling boxes.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, I like John Thompson. He's very funny.
Yes, he's a very funny man in a very nice way.
Yes, very dry sense of humour. Right, G ratings then, John. Let's start at the bottom end of the scale.
Well, bottom is 1G for the My TV, because really I don't think you can get a digital terrestrial TV signal on a little aerial like this. You need a big aerial and probably a roof to put it on as well, so not really much use when you're out and about.
Yeah, quite frustrating when it keeps on breaking up. What about the Vodafone TV Surface?
Yeah, well, 2Gs for that. I mean, it was better, at least it's consistent and useful, but there's not really much live TV, and even on the channels you get live, like ITV, there's, you know, things like the films might be missing, for example, because they haven't got the rights, so it's very limited.
So still a way to go with that one.
Yeah.
OK, so the Slingbox.
Well, 4Gs for that. It really is a good piece of kit. You can actually watch your own TV wherever you are in the world. You can get a decent internet connection.
So, for TV on the move, get yourself a Slingbox. Right, now it's time for another Gadget Show Top 5. And this time, I've been testing a gadget that it's fair to say we all take for granted. I'm talking about a piece of tech that pops up nearly every morning in everybody's house in this country. The humble toaster. I had 20 toasters and I needed to test their ability to produce perfectly golden brown, crisp and tasty toast in a matter of minutes. So for the first test, I'm going to set all the toasters to a medium heat to see which ones give a really nice golden brown, even coverage. So we don't want to see any streaks or any patches, or certainly no burning. The best 10 will go through to the next round. You're going to burn. Perfect toast is all down to a chemical reaction. I hate that. That's man toast. 100 years ago, a French scientist called Maillard spent ages toasting bread before concluding that heat caused a combination of carbohydrates and amino acids to produce the distinctive taste and smell of our breakfast classic. Like that. So, having selected the best 10 performing toasters from my first test, it was now on to round 2. So this test is a test of time. I'm going to time each toaster, and the 5 quickest will go through to the next and final round. Go! Go! 3, 2, 1, cook! 1.5 minutes. Apart from making sure that you're not late for work, a quick toaster should stop the inside of each slice of toast from getting too dried out. 3 minutes. So, with the 5 best browning quickest toasters left, it was time to rank them 1 to 5. And who better to judge than people who spend 3 years living almost exclusively on toast? Students. I'm guessing that toast is a regular meal for you guys. Yeah? And beans on toast would be like 2 courses?
Heaven.
3 courses would be beans on toast with a bit of cheese on top?
Yeah, definitely.
OK, ready, guys? Take a seat and I'll bring you some food over. I handed out rounds of toast from each of our 5 toasters in a completely random order. Hey, this is like heaven for you, isn't it? Toast being brought to you, look. I asked the students to mark each piece of toast out of 5 according to how good it tasted.
Love it. It's good. It's quite crispy and it's quite fluffy on the inside, which is sort of the aim of good toast.
Number 3?
Golden. Yeah, it's crispy. It's got the...
You won't beat that one.
Number 4.
Well, number 1 and number 4 are kind of my favourites at the moment.
And finally, the toast off is almost complete.
Would you like my piece?
So, with the taste test completed, I collected up all the scores and ranked them in order. Now, I can present to you our top 5. At number 5, it's the Russell Hobbs 2-slice glass toaster.
It's not that tasty.
It's not very crispy at all, really, is it?
It's not fluffy.
At number 4, it's the Krups FEM2 Toast Expert.
Now this is good toast.
At number 3, it's the Dual-Lit 4-Slice Light Toaster.
This is one of the best.
At 2, it's the Bosch Private Collection 2-Slice Toaster.
It's not very golden, it's quite light. Yeah. No, I'm liking that.
And our number 1 toaster is the Breville Blue Ice.
That is really
Top-notch toast.
That's hit the spot, that. I like that.
Yeah, no.
So here it is then, our Breville Blue Ice. Do you want to taste a bit?
Oh, please.
I'll tell you what, the smell of toast is absolutely divine, isn't it?
It's something akin to the smell of fish and chips, isn't it?
You've got to have a good piece of bread for a good piece of toast, though. Big chunky piece, I think. What do you think?
As you said, crisp on the outside, white and fluffy inside.
Exactly. Marvellous, eh?
Absolutely beautiful. Now, you'll know we've been doing a challenge, John and I, this week called Earth, Wind and Fire. We've already done the first bit, the earth bit, that was metal detectors. I thought it was brilliant, but I won that part of the challenge. Next up, the wind bit, a seriously windy place we went to test the image stabilisation capabilities of a couple of entry-level digital cameras. Great stuff.
So rude.
Now, if you buy yourself a reasonably top-of-the-range digital compact camera these days, it's almost certain to come with image stabilization. Lots of digital SLRs do too, but the amazing thing is that image stabilization is going further and further down the range, and even the most basic sort of point-and-shoots now come with it. The thing is, though, on these cheaper cameras, is it any good? We bought both these two for under 100 quid each.
Yep. The purpose of image stabilization is to get rid of the blur that you get from a shaking camera. So a camera that's not on a tripod, or a camera you're using for action, like on your mountain bike or sticking it out of a car, or here in the blustery countryside.
It's not that blustery, though, is it?
No, it's not, is it?
No.
But don't worry, because I know a place that is.
That's blustery.
This is the Airkicks Vertical Wind Tunnel. It's where skydivers hone their skills in winds of up to 170 miles an hour, generated by enormous vanes turning below it.
Have you ever been in winds as strong as this? I mean, it's 120 miles an hour.
It's incredible. Obviously, I've stuck my head out of the car, but it's not like this. I mean, you
not
can
fast,
feel the
is it?
pressure.
Yeah.
In fact, if anything is going to test the image stabilisation capabilities of these two cameras, it's this. I mean, this is taking wind and buffeting and all that to the extreme.
Our challenge was to find out which of our cameras would take the steadiest picture of our still-life potted plant in an extremely unsteady environment.
Right, mate, here we go.
All right.
I got the new Kodak C913 and was putting my money on the digital image stabilisation system it uses. Digital IS reduces the blurriness of pictures by adjusting the camera's sensitivity to light so that it can keep the shutter speed as fast as possible and therefore give you less time for the camera to move and blur the picture.
Whereas I reckon the optical image stabilization on the Panasonic LS80 was the way to go. This is based inside the camera lens itself and reduces blur by detecting movement using a processor and minutely shifting the path of the image to the sensor.
I went in first with the image stabilisation on my Kodak switched off because we wanted to see just how shaky the wind tunnel would make our shots. The noise and speed inside the tunnel were amazing. It was so windy, my Kodak would have flown off had it not been strapped to my wrist. It was practically impossible to aim it in the right direction, let alone take a steady shot of our not-so-still life. As these pictures show, with image stabilisation turned off, my Kodak just couldn't cope with these extreme conditions.
So, how would my Panasonic fare with its image stabilization turned off? Every minute in here, 34 billion cubic centimetres of air was rushing past me, and that made for predictably fuzzy-looking pictures. Very abstract.
So it was clear, without IS, we couldn't get any usable shots at all. It was time to see just how good the technology in our entry-level cameras was.
So we turned our stabilisation on and readied ourselves for another buffeting to give our camera's image stabilisation the hardest possible test.
Because the Kodak has digital image stabilisation using a faster shutter speed, it should reduce blur from my shaky camera work, as well as from the movement of the leaves. It should also allow me to up the light sensitivity by using the one-touch button for steady shots. This is something you can do manually in most cameras, but it was much more handy in my point-and-click Kodak.
my turn to see how well my entry-level Panasonic would perform. Its optical image stabilization system is what the purists generally go for, as it uses dedicated gyro sensors to detect movement. But how well could it steady my shakiness? And were our stabilized shots any better? It was time to escape the wind tunnel and find out. Oh, what a splendid invention. Let's see what the image stabilization's like. Well, it was better, but not by much. Sadly, my Panasonic hadn't performed as well as I'd hoped.
I felt like I was all over the place with my motion. And look at that, that's not a bad shot there.
You could see a real improvement from my Kodak's unstabilised images. I was impressed.
Fantastic.
But to establish just how good our pictures really were, we got professional skydiver Simon to take photos of the potted plant. The difference was that he was using a much more expensive Olympus E3 digital SLR camera with image stabilization. So, how would our photos compare to the real deal? And here's all three results.
Yeah.
The SLR, the professional grade camera, is clearly way ahead of
Yeah,
our
this is
thing.
our control picture, if you
Yeah.
like, and you can really see the high-end technology stabilising the picture there.
Yeah, and you can boost the sensitivity, boost the shutter speed, and still end up with a great picture.
Absolutely.
I mean, my Panasonic, I was really a bit disappointed, actually. I
Yeah.
mean, the optical image stabilisation, it just couldn't quite freeze the image, and also it couldn't freeze the image of the plant because the shutter speed's still slow.
It's the thing, it's a smooth image, it's just not in focus, and, you know, it's obviously being affected by the
just
movement.
blurred.
Whereas my image certainly isn't smooth, it's very grainy, but it's absolutely pin-sharp.
It's pin sharp, but the cost of that sort of cheap and cheerful way of just getting a stable image by boosting the sensitivity means you end up with a horrible amount of noise in the picture.
You absolutely do, but to be fair to Kodak, they don't call it image stabilisation, they call it blur reduction, and that's exactly what it's done. It's reduced the blur.
With just a button press.
Yeah, and so I think just fractionally, the winner of this second stage of this week's challenge is Kodak's C913 compact digital camera.
Right, time for another short break now, but after that...
Our Earth, Wind and Fire challenge reaches its climax with the fire bit, in which John and I become mini astronauts to test some of the most awesome rockets you can buy.
And Dallas travels to Canada to test drive some of the most ridiculous bikes you will ever see. Welcome back. Now it's time for the latest report from our intrepid reporter, Dallas Campbell. Actually, I don't know why I called him intrepid. He's not intrepid, is he? It's not like he's had a hard time since he's joined the show. He's had a whale of a time, actually. Think about it. He's been to California, Austria, Switzerland. He's been testing jet luges. He's built himself a world-beating slot car. And apparently, he's been invited round to John Bentley's for tea. Huh? Nice. Well, now he's been to Canada to do a bit of biking. All right for some, isn't it?
This is the city of Waterloo. It's at the centre of Canada's technology triangle, and last year was voted the world's most intelligent community. Here you'll find the headquarters of BlackBerry and R&D centres for many of the world's leading tech companies.
It's also home to one of the strangest bike collections in the world.
And it's that strange bike collection that I'd come to see. These bikes are really off the scale, and they're the work of Brent Curry, an engineer who's taken the concept of the humble bicycle to a completely new level, and he agreed to let me have a go on some of his favourites.
Hi, are you Brent?
I am.
Hi, Dallas Campbell. Really nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
I've just been looking at this. Can I just say that's my dream bike? A bike where you can actually just sit down and relax.
Well, thank you very much.
Did you make this yourself?
I did.
If I was going to do the Tour de France, this is what I'd want to do it on. Oh, it's fantastic. It's so comfortable. And then, of course, you know, if you're with an attractive girl, you can do the old... the old reach around.
You actually kind of have to do that because the right-hand brake is on the right side of the bike.
So basically, Brent, you designed the brake in order to be able to put your arm around a girl.
Pretty much.
God, you're brilliant. This is the nicest bicycle I've ever been on. This is better than my rally chopper.
This amazing piece of transport is called a couch bike, and Brent built this back in 2002 for a 500-kilometre trip across Canada.
Where did the sofa come from?
It belonged to an old university friend of mine.
Wait, can I just check? This is a student sofa.
It is.
So there's probably like old pizza and just, oh, it's disgusting down there. Don't look down there.
The frame is made from strong but lightweight alloy steel. It has 2 separate drivetrains so each person can cycle at their own pace, and a massive 144 gear combinations per side.
It's good. I have to say, it's actually really, really easy to paddle. It's nice.
Yeah,
I could get into this.
Yeah, it's slow getting started, but once you get up to speed, it's nice and relaxing.
I tell you what, DFS sofas, they've got a sale on at the moment. You could go in, buy a whole load of cheap sofas, knock out a load of bikes, make an absolute killing. This one looks slightly less sparking mad, although I'm not seeing any seat, and I'm certainly not seeing any chain or pedals. How on earth do you ride it?
The key to the hula bike is this rear wheel with the eccentrically laced hub.
Eccentric being the key word here, yes.
Meaning it's a little off-center.
Eccentric's a kind of running theme with you, I'm sensing.
If you push this bike along, it would just bounce up and down.
Okay.
But if you bounce with the right rhythm, sort of like a hula hoop,
right.
Sort of like you're using a hula hoop.
Yeah, baby.
Then you can propel it.
Okay, here goes.
Woo! Because the hub of the wheel is offset from the centre of the rim, it's essential that you bounce up and down on the hula bike with as much force as possible.
Once you get a bit of a rhythm going, it's actually quite easy. It's obviously a very different technique to riding a normal bike because there's no pedals. You just have to get the timing right. Woohoo! Boing, boing.
Next up, I drove another of Brent's bicycles built for 2. It was originally a 4-wheeled quadricycle, but Brent decided to make a pickup truck cover for it out of sheet metal and rivets.
It's actually not bad. I mean, again, we're both pedalling, but we're pedalling at different speeds. Are we on separate gears?
Yeah, we have 2 independent drivetrains, each with 36 speeds.
My Rover 216 only has 4 gears. Oh, around the corners we go. It's great. It's actually really, really good fun. Once you get a bit of speed going, it actually handles surprisingly well. Woohoo! Come on!
Brent's most innovative creation is this, the treadmill bike. Yes, a treadmill on a bike.
Oh my God, this is impossible.
When you run on it, your leg power alone makes it move, and it's really tough.
Brent, stop. I can't see. Oh my God. You see, all your other bikes, lots of fun, great. This one is horrible and is torturous. I never ever want to go on it again. What are you thinking?
Well, this is meant as a bit of a social commentary on people who drive their cars to the gym only to run on a stationary treadmill.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make sense, I figured. So I figured I'd make a bike that doesn't make much sense.
The treadmill mat is butted against the back tyre. When you run on the bike, the friction is what drives the wheels. Oh, and did I mention, it's really, really tough. Brent builds most of his bikes as art projects, although the couch bike is available to hire for weddings and other special occasions. The only bike that is for sale is the treadmill bike, but he hasn't had any takers yet, and I can't say I'm surprised.
Sofa bikes!
I love sofa bikes.
It's the way forward.
It definitely is, because it's my 2 favourite things.
Yeah.
Cycling I like, lounging about on the sofa I love, combined into one gadget.
And for the 3 things I love, then you could have like a little drinks tray on the side, couldn't you?
That'd be very nice.
Loving bikes as you do, I've got a bike to show you.
Does it involve me getting off this sofa in any way?
No. It does. And it involves your exercises. So come over here. Look at this. Okay. It's called the Extreme. It's an amazing exercise bike with a huge difference. Sit your bum on there. You've got your monitor here. So, effectively, it simulates real cross-country mountain bike racing. It's packed full of sensors. And as you can see, they move.
Oh, I see.
Steering all moves.
Oh, and I can free wheel. That's a free wheel as opposed to like a spinning bike fixed wheel.
It's exactly the same as your mountain bike. So let me let you in.
You can choose different
Exactly. So these are all your courses, all your trails.
Okay.
But you can't get into them. These are all locked, look, until you win this one.
Ah, so it's competitive.
It's very, very competitive. So let's open this and get you going.
Wow, look at this. I'm on a mountain path.
There you go. So off you go, get pedalling.
Okay.
So I've put you on automatic settings.
Okay.
But you can have all manual settings if you want to. You can override your automatic setting. You've got your gears here, same as a normal mountain bike.
This is amazing, because as I go uphill on the screen, I can actually feel it.
Yeah. So it's changing your gears for you.
Oh, and I just crashed and killed myself.
OK, I'll have another go, because it resets you quite quickly, which is
It's actually quite difficult, because it's very responsive, the steering.
Do you feel like you're on a bike
Oh, no,
outside?
totally, absolutely. And the graphics are fantastic.
So you go through all your different courses. So you've got your virtual racers that are a little bit behind you at the moment. Oh, no, they're not. They're completely ahead of you. You're rubbish. OK, so you've got to catch up your competitors in front of you here. They're your virtual racers. Now, they're about your level. And
Rubbish, you mean?
Yeah, no, but as you get better, they get better as well. So essentially, this is a really competitive way of getting fit.
It really is, and the great thing is you can actually drive into them and they sort of turn into ghosts or zombies or something.
You can drive through them. You're doing quite well, actually.
It's really hard.
You can't cheat.
I know, this is the thing when I'm doing a spinning class, you can just cheat.
Yeah, you can't.
With this, you can't.
If you just press this button here, look.
Yeah.
You can change your point of view. So that's your onboard.
That's better. I like that.
That's quite good, isn't it, that?
Oh, I'm going up a hill. I can really feel that.
But you must win to move on. Use your pumping power boost.
Come on!
OK, if you want to have a go on the extreme, well, you can, because if you enter and win this week's competition, it will be landing on your doorstep. It's one of 70 gadgets that we're giving away. Yes, 70. It is a luscious prize fund. Grab a pen and a piece of paper. Here comes the list.
Do they do this in the sofa model?
No! This week, you could win an extreme exercise bike,
A Mind Lab Explorer SE metal detector,
a Kodak C913 digital camera,
and a Surefire E1 backup torch,
a Peter Lynn Hornet kite,
a 32-inch LCD TV,
and a 20-inch LCD TV,
and a Slingbox Pro,
and an in-focus DLP projector,
a 5.1 surround sound speaker system,
and a Pyromat gaming chair,
and a high-end desktop gaming PC,
a Nintendo Wii and Wii Fit and a DS Lite,
a Microsoft Xbox 360,
a Sony PS3 and a PSP, and a whole load of games for all the consoles,
a pair of Yukon Tracker night vision goggles,
a Magellan in-car sat-nav,
a Solio solar gadget charger,
an Epson photo printer,
an Aerobi Pro flying ring, an Apple iPhone 3G,
a pair of Mordant Short speakers,
a high-def Blu-ray player,
a high-def Sony camcorder, and a Gorilla Pod,
an iPod Classic,
an Urban Mover electric mountain bike,
a pair of Bose noise reduction headphones,
an Alert Me home security system,
a pair of Wiley XSG1 sunglasses,
a Kayam Igloo tent,
a Berghaus Bioflex rucksack,
a Coleman Road Trip Pro barbecue,
a Tefal Vita Cuisine,
a Turbo Chef blender,
a Hand Presso Wild,
a pair of high-end Asics trainers,
and an Adidas My Coach,
a Leatherman Charge multi-tool,
a G-Shock Golfman watch,
and a Roberts Dab radio,
an 8-gig rugged USB memory stick,
a Pocket Surfer,
a remote control vision tracking system camera car,
a Breville Blue Eyes 2-slice toaster,
a year's free subscription to Sky's full HD service plus dish and decoder, and a year's free broadband at the very best speed we can reasonably get where you live, and an appropriate Wi-Fi router.
And £50 worth of calls a month free for a whole year on the 3 network, and a Sony Ericsson K660i mobile phone.
Oh, and a cuddly toy with a hidden security camera inside.
To be in with a chance of winning, you'll need to know the answer to this question. Which 1996 film followed Tornado Chasers? Was it A, Twister, B, Armageddon, or C, The Day After Tomorrow?
To enter, call 0904 251 5555 or text Gadget plus A, B or C to 63555. Calls cost £1.50 from a BT landline. Calls from other networks may vary and from mobiles will cost considerably more. Text costs £1.50 plus one message at standard network rate. For rules, go to 5.tv/win. Lines close at midday on Monday the 4th of August and we'll show you the question again at the end of the show. Right now, though, it's time for the focus group.
Each week on the focus group, Jon, Jason and I find the best new gadgets in a particular category. We then present them to our focus group and they tell us which one they like the best. Now, this week we're looking at kitchen gadgets. So we've come to University College Birmingham, UCB, with our newly graduated chefs. Well done,
congratulations,
chef.
guys.
Really good, well done.
Excellent.
Very good. And, Jon, you're going to go first.
I've got something called the Hand Presso Wild, and it's basically a portable espresso maker. Now, Ferris here has very kindly agreed to help me demonstrate it. The first thing you need to do is get it up to the right pressure. That pressure is about 16 bar. There is a gauge on it, and you sort of pump it like a bicycle pump.
There you go.
Right, so at the right pressure. Now, you take the top off, and it goes. Now, there shouldn't be too much water. OK, right, then put the coffee in. Apparently you don't actually have to have coffee that's been ground a few seconds before. That screws on, and then you put that over the cup and press the button to release it.
The gauge is going down.
Maro over here is an expert in espresso. I think you should taste this first and tell us what you think.
Thank you very much. It's not too bad, it's quite good.
Ah, right.
Yeah.
Oh, praise indeed.
This is the Turbo Chef blender. It's a really, really clever idea, but before I tell you about it, I need a volunteer. Crystal, I know it's Crystal, it says so on your lapel. Would you like to serve the soup that I prepared earlier? It should be hot now, and therein lies the key. This is a blender, a liquidizer, a mixer. It'll mix dough for you, it'll make baby food, it'll crush ice, but most impressively of all, it also heats the food. It comes with 99 pre-programmed recipes inside its little memory in there. It's also got a USB slot, which I'm told enables you to connect the Turbo Chef blender to the internet and download more recipes. You can get up to 1,300 recipes in there at one time. Let's go over here. What's your name, sir?
Pete.
Pete, what do you think?
I think it's really nice.
Is it a good texture for soup? It'll even steam seafood. This thing is a kitchen in a blender.
Right, chaps and chapesses, this is the Tefal Vita Cuisine 3-in-1 steamer. Now, I need a bit of help. Trish, you've offered, so come and help me here. We'll take it apart. We put the water in here first of all. So if we just put that down there. And this is where the steam is going to come from. Our water reservoir at the bottom. That's perfect. Thank you very much. And then you just put your second layer on top of that. So here we go. You've got these great little buckets. So you can have your vegetables in here. You can have your chicken or your fish on here, or you can have a dessert. And the steam that's coming through your vegetables is not going to come into your dessert tray. And you end up with your beautifully cooked steamed vegetables and your fish. We haven't got a chocolate pudding today, sorry, chaps. As well as showing off our kitchen gadgets to the focus group, we left them alone with the kit to have a bit of a cook by themselves and make up their minds as to which they like the best.
Very easy to use. And it's a good cup of coffee.
I personally buy it. It does everything, doesn't it? It steams and cooks.
Quite interesting. It can actually teach people recipes.
OK, the moment of truth has arrived. It's time for you to vote now. You can only choose one of our kitchen gadgets. If you'd like to go for John's handheld espresso maker, put your hand up now. OK, fair representation.
3.
1, 2, 3. OK. If alternatively you'd like to go for my Turbo Chef blender, then vote with your hands. Oh, what a shame!
Quite surprised.
Yeah, I thought that would be popular. OK, that leaves us with the Vita Cuisine from Tefal, Susie's machine. If that's for you, hands in the air, we have a winner. Well done to the Vita Cuisine! Right, time for the last break in tonight's show. After that, John and I face the final part of our Earth, Wind and Fire challenge. The bit where we get to fire model rockets as high as we possibly can.
Welcome back. So, to the climax of this week's Earth, Wind and Fire challenge. Now, you may remember earlier, for the earthy bit, Jon and Jason went head-to-head testing metal detectors. Jason won that part of the challenge. Then, in very strong winds, they tested cheap cameras. Jason also won that part of the challenge. So, Jon was really keen to get the third part right. OK, then, the final part of the challenge. Fire!
This would be a test of raw power. We were about to enter the world of model rocketry and assemble our own model rockets. And in keeping with the model theme, we would be launching miniature dolls of ourselves into the sky and beyond.
Model rockets like these can fly hundreds of metres up, and whichever one of ours managed to reach the highest altitude would be the winner.
But before we began the challenge proper, we decided to test fire a couple of small rockets to get Mini Jon and Mini Jace in the mood for their flight.
Now, remember your training, don't let the team down, and don't worry.
There you go, eh? You might be scared, all right, but you're looking buff. Look at you. You're packed. The most important part of any rocket is the motor, which drives the rocket upwards by burning a propellant such as gunpowder. And this is ignited by an electrical current.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, lift off! Woo! Look at that!
Rocket power is rated alphabetically, with A motors being the lowest. If you get small rockets like these, you'll probably use C or D rated motors. But for the challenge, we each wanted something with a bit more oomph.
These are medium to high-powered rockets, and unlike the one that we tested earlier, they use composite fuel, which is similar to the stuff you find in the solid booster rockets that eventually get the shuttle into orbit.
The sort of motors that power these kind of rockets look like this. Again, they're rated by letter, and the letters go all the way up to O. You go up a letter, you double the power. So, because I want to win one of these challenges for once, I've gone for a nice big rocket with a high-powered motor.
Whereas I've gone for a slimline model with a medium power engine.
What have you gone for a medium-powered engine for?
Oh, sorry, didn't I say? ×4! Yep, my plan was basically to stick 4 I-class rockets together. Although they were less powerful individually than Jon's, I reckon their combined power would be enough to win.
I was putting my faith in one stonking great K-class rocket that hopefully would give me power and reliability.
Well, I've made a parachute for little Jace, which should be enough to save him on the descent. The only problem I'm having is he's too wide, he's just too tough for the tube of my rocket. So, little Jace, I'm sorry, my man. I'm going to have to remove your arms.
Finally, our rocket packs were ready. It was time for the launch.
Each rocket was equipped with an altimeter to record our guy's peak altitude.
OK, ready?
Whoever went highest would win the challenge.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Fire!
Oh, my goodness! Oh, don't believe it! Mine's still going! Where's yours? I can't see the thing!
See it, it went too far.
Just incredible! Where's yours gone? Where's it gone? There it is! There it is!
Hey. The other side of this corn.
So, Jon's had landed, but if I couldn't find mine, I would definitely lose the challenge.
Aha!
There it is! There it is!
Excellent. Little Jon is in fine form.
Wait, look! I can see it! Look, there! Oh, my God. One of these cones that has my altimeter attached should be able to tell me whether or not I beat Jon.
Hey, ace.
What a great afternoon that was.
It was a superb day.
Do you want to know whose rocket went the highest?
Absolutely.
OK, then, here we go. Jon, first of all, yours went an extraordinary 2,044 feet high.
Ooh, that's quite good,
That's good.
Extremely high.
Jason,
Yeah?
your little bundle of fun here
Yeah.
went 2,000...
Yeah?
116 feet, which makes it the winner of the challenge.
Fantastic!
Well done, but why did this go so high?
don't know.
I know, but maybe it's a weight at this
While they're arguing, not that anybody's
Maybe it's the
competitive
weight.
on the Gadget show, you know, I'll say goodbye to you. Got a great show for you next week. See you then.
See you next time.
Yeah.